Is your company
Mm-hmm.
something that people are going to want to go to and just start to explore real estate? Is that a good start for them, or do you have other types of advice?
Yeah, so I mean, we take on investors that are brand new, like they've never owned any real estate, maybe outside of their primary home. So we certainly have those that are buying one property, and they're getting a single fam for 50,000 or so, and just getting their feet wet, so to speak. We have other investors that have bought $1 million all at one time.
Mm-hmm.
So we certainly welcome all of them, because we don't ever know when somebody is gonna buy one property, there's thing us out, and they really they want to buy $1 million more, or we don't know that if they buy one property that over the next decade that we could create a real fruitful partnership and help them build a meaningful portfolio to create some really serious lifestyle income. So we just really try to help people and educate them. It's try to be more of a salutation. So that's why we have our own podcast as well that we do, and we have about 50 episodes, and they're all each episode is different forms and different ideas and ways that they can create buy and hold real estate investments. And not all of our shows are just about our product. I mean, we have other companies come on and share what they're doing and how they're doing it. We had a mobile home park expert just came on just on our last episode. So we try to provide as much of that type of diversity, but the whole show is kind of just dedicated to creating buy and hold passive income. So yeah, I think we do welcome any investors. All of our investors are cash investors, just because of the way our model works. Whenever we get a property, it takes us a while to get a property through all the processes of what we do to make sure that it's a quality cash flow producing property. So we don't accept any upfront bank financing to be able to purchase them. And the main reason is just whenever we get something done, we typically sell it within about 12 hours, because we have investors that are typically waiting. They've contacted us. They like what they've seen, and then they're waiting for us to get a property through those processes. So then we just don't have any opportunity to hold a property for another 3 months, waiting for the bank to go through all their hoops and everything that they need to be able to finance and close.
Right. Sounds exciting. Sounds quick and lots of neat opportunities to get involved with something.
Yeah, it's really, it's been pretty amazing to have a business set to where, and we could absolutely raise our prices, because obviously if we're selling everything in 12 hours, if we raised our prices even more, maybe it'd take a week or two, and we could certainly command more for each property. But our model is such that, and our philosophy is that we never want to put our investor into a situation where they're, way underwater right from the beginning. We want to pass on good deals and create them to be in a space where they have, a property that's at or below market value. And so we, being that we sell everything so fast, we're now kind of working on the supply side of the equation. Is how do we get more effective at producing more these high quality properties that have gone through all these processes. So that's the next layer of the problem is that we're trying to solve. Is we have a lot of demand. Now we have to figure out the supply side of the equation, which is it's a great position to be in.
Yeah, sure. Now, is somebody investing in this for a cash flow or an appreciation?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's the great debate, I think, amongst a lot of real estate investors, is which one is better. And our motto is that neither one is better. It is entirely dependent upon the investor and what their goals are. So, for example, when I, about 3 years ago, when I started in my real estate investing career, I wanted cash flow. I was not that as much interested in capital appreciation. I wanted another stream of backup income to protect my family and protect our financial future, so that should anything happen to my other source of income or anything should happen to me, that my family would be have multiple streams of income to sustain them and wouldn't be under any sort of financial duress, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did that. Now I'm starting to enter the point at which our tax bracket is to the point of where it's starting to not make sense for me to be a cash flow investor. In other words, like my to the point where it'd be much more effective for me to be investing for capital appreciation, of which that's not going to be immediately taxed or may never be taxed until I actually go to sell it. Or then, even then, I'll be able to pass on the properties onto my family without any tax ramifications, right? So, that's the kind of the example of, it kind of depends on what stage of life you're in and what your goals are and what is it that you're really looking for. So I know for most of the people that we talk to, they're very interested in another stream of cash flow so that they have a way to either get out of their job or not be 100% reliant upon their job to be able to live an incredible life.
Yeah. I think a mistake that people might often make, it's something I learned with my financial planner. You start putting money into funds, and depending on your age, you might have more aggressive funds when you're younger, because you want those to, of course, increase in value faster, but you have a higher risk tolerance because you're younger. You've got a lot of earning potential. But then as you get into your 50s, like myself, you want everything to be conservative because you don't want to lose the money now that you've been socking away. And you go through that exercise of, how much cash do I need? What do I want to save for the future for my family, et cetera? I think people make the mistake when they start making passive income that they don't look at it as the same way as you've just described in your own scenario, where they treat those passive income opportunities much like their own investment portfolio, like you would with a financial planner. Because as you just described, cash flow might not be as important as appreciation as you've matured and you have enough of one in one pocket, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that certainly, like, having those, everything comes down to me in terms of creating wealth is multiple streams of income and not ever really being 100% reliant upon, one stream of income. And if you look at, the majority of Americans, if they lose their job, they're I think the stats are they're like 8 weeks away from, like financial duress. Mm-hmm. So, to me, it totally makes sense to, just from a macro perspective, is looking at your own, whenever anybody looks at their own personal financial situation, is that, gosh, like, if I'm relying upon one source of income, man, I could be in big trouble. This dries up. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, look, I know I've taken your morning up here, and I appreciate your time on the show and educating us not only where you've been, but where you're at now. Where can people listen to your podcast at and maybe find out a little bit more about your business?
So we have a website. Encourage everybody to take a look. It's www.highreturnrealestate.com. Just like it's spelled, highreturnrealestate.com. And we have a link to our podcast right there. We have a way for them to look at properties. We have videos. They can book a call with Nicole, who's our head of investor relations. So we definitely, pretty much everything's right there on that site.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I don't know a lot about your business. I've done some digging when I was introduced to you via email, but I do know from your materials, you and your partner look extremely happy, people that I would like to surround myself with. So great job on the materials and just kind of how you've presented yourself to the public. It certainly speaks volumes for who you are and what you've done. And I think that your materials are incredibly helpful, especially for people that want to get into that investment opportunity within real estate. So thank you for your time. Appreciate you being on the show.
Yeah, no, thank you. I really appreciate that, Jim. And, I haven't really talked about my partner, Shecky, a whole lot on this show. But, when I first started looking at, scaling up and building up the real estate business, he was my digital marketing coach in my nutrition company. So I pulled him in and recruited him as my 50-50 equity partner in this company. And he's done an incredible job. That's his lane, is the digital marketing, the website, the whole flow of information. So it's just one more example. It's kind of edification of what I've been saying, is that, you got to really work hard at putting the right people around you that have the right skills and complement you in terms of, what you're good at and what helps you to kind of stay in your lane, so to speak, and what puts them in their most effective lane.
Yeah, well, listen, in all fairness, we didn't want to leave him out either. So we're going to have him on the show in a couple of weeks, and we're going to compare notes,
awesome.
if you will, okay?
All right. Sounds great.
Yeah, well, listen, thanks for being on the show, and I wish you the very best in your business.
All right. Thanks so much, Jim. Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Well, I really appreciate having Jack on the show today. The conversations I have before and after the show sometimes are as good, if not better, than the show. And I wish we'd just keep the ball rolling or the record button down, because these people that I've been interviewing are such a wealth of information, have interesting lives. And, they're all just like you and I, and the things that we're trying to pursue. They have families, they have, husbands and wives and passion and, all the same challenges of your day in and day out. But, for them to pull it together and create a business and be successful at it is just awe-inspiring. And Jack is no different than that. I look forward to having his partner, Shecky, on the line the next couple of weeks and introducing him to our crowd, as well as getting to know him myself. It's funny, Jack brought up the Napoleon Hill book, Think and Grow Rich, which is sitting on my desktop and has been. And once in a while I go back to it. Just further proof that some of those old teachings still apply today, and people are using them in their daily business to see success. So I wish you the best of success in whatever it is you're doing. Speaking of success, today I was back on the treadmill running for the first time in 2 months. My trainer, Jordan, over at Heart Fit in Glendora, rehabbed me the last 2 months for my ACL tear, my bone contusion, and it feels great to be on the treadmill and getting not even a mile, but the healing process is on the tail end, and I'm going to get back to my Spartan racing. So as David Meltzer says, spend your mornings thinking about all the things that you have more than enough, and what you believe is what you will achieve. So thanks for tuning in. Please share the show if you enjoyed it. You can find us on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and a whole slew of other locations. And if you can, please subscribe to the show. Thanks.